So what happens when you come into contact with social services in the UK? I'm not sure if this is the same in other countries, but for us, I want to give you an idea of our experience. So first off, we came about an assessment officer by name of Patience Machutuda. She was a person who came to see us in a library in Caldicot, Cwmbran. This is in South Wales, United Kingdom. This was the appropriate meeting place because she didn't feel safe to come to our home. This is what she claimed anyway. And this was the reason she met us in the library. The first assessment took about an hour, and she jotted down a load of notes about me and my fiancée at the time. And we thought it was all going well. She was smiling, personable, polite, friendly, everything you'd expect from an organisation that was there supposedly to help people. And we had come into this case, unfortunately, because people who I'd fallen out of favour with in my past had decided to come against me and do it in the most cruel way, which was to inform the social services that they thought that we were a danger to our unborn son, the baby that we were expecting. They came into our lives about 3 months into the pregnancy. The first meeting we felt went well, but we didn't want to be involved. Really, I certainly didn't want to be involved, and it was my attitude was to get out and while I could. But my ex, because of her unintentional ignorance, decided that she would go along with the case. And I too got involved and thought actually we could win this because we've done nothing wrong. Unfortunately, we found out pretty quickly that this wasn't the case. We did a load of investigation into the epidemic that is the child abduction and forced adoption that's going on in the world and in the UK, a supposed civilized country. And we found out that actually this was a very dangerous organisation we were dealing with, and we had to play our cards right if we had any chance of taking the baby. We didn't know initially that the objective of this organisation was to take the child regardless of what evidence you provided, in contrast to the evidence that they'd submitted against you. We gave all we could, and we recorded every interview, every assessment, every meeting, and it's all on USB, and so we've got all our evidence documented of what went on during these meetings. Because their objective was to take our son, we were absolutely heartbroken throughout the pregnancy, and it didn't occur to us to leave the country until probably about 6 or 7 months into the pregnancy, when we felt we had no hope. After our initial assessments with patients, we attended our first PLO meeting, and even then we felt as if we were criminals because we were being treated as such, even though we had done no wrong, and none of the evidence submitted against us had been proved factual. They were just allegations, allegations and assumptions and lies, and just malicious rumours that they'd taken, the social services had taken as fact and used against us in the reports they compiled. Talking about compiling reports, Patience compiled a report that was not at all fair. There was nothing in it to suggest that we were potentially very good parents, and maybe we could have done with a bit of support at the time, because we were just getting ourselves established and we were preparing to have a baby, but we didn't realise that they didn't offer support. Their option was that they were going to take the child because you'd unfortunately fell into the lottery of their system. From meeting Patience, we went to our first PLO meeting, and even the chairwoman was against us, and we requested another one because straight away she treated us as, she said something along the lines of, because I complained I'd only had 2 days to prepare my defence, and she said, well, you're lucky because some people only get a few hours. And I thought, actually, this doesn't sound right from the offset. We attended our first PLO, and there was probably about 6 members there. There was police, there was social worker, there was the chairwoman, there was the manager of the social working team, the social workers team that was assessing our case. There was the assessment officer, the initial assessment officer, who actually got suspended because of the lies she told, but she was on our case within a couple of weeks after anyway. And there was Julie Pickersgill, who absolutely made it her business to destroy us. And this was because we argued with her. We argued against everything that was the evidence that was submitted against us. We proved it to be incorrect, but yet she still took the stance that we were a danger to the children. And one day I could see it in her eyes that she enjoyed what she was doing, and I told her as much. I stood up to these people in a way that many people don't, and because I can articulate myself and I'm pretty bright, they didn't like that fact. And I told them in the meeting, you are nothing more than the SS officers. You're nothing more than SS officers. The way you operate, the way you destroy families, the way you destroy lives, the way you meticulously go about the absolute annihilation and dissection of a person's personality in a way to ruin them and weaken them and make them unable to fight. This was the case with us. They crippled us emotionally, so we were weak during the process. Through every meeting, we got all these lies made against us that were being submitted as fact. So therefore we felt as if we were broken, we were destined to fail, but we still fought throughout the whole process. And we went to every meeting and it didn't do us any favours whatsoever. It absolutely destroyed us. It was the methods they use have gone back years and years and years, so they know what they're doing. And they'll say that you're insane or incapable, or you're not, there's no way that you can have a child because you're irresponsible. These methods are psychological, and it's over a prolonged period of time, because the pregnancy, obviously, it takes 9 months. So through this period, they have a lot of opportunity to assess you, to analyse you, and to subject you to huge criticism. And just outright lies, the consistent and perpetual bullshit that we faced was out of this world. We couldn't believe the things we were hearing, and everything we felt, how have they got this information? And it turned out that some of it was just being made up. They'd taken allegations from people who were absolutely unreliable and who were the worst witnesses imaginable, but they took this as evidence and they used it as evidence in every report. The pain they caused us was absolutely terrible. There was nothing like it. It's the agony of fearing the loss of your blood, your child, there's nothing in this world to describe it. It's the most evil threat imaginable. I felt as though I was like I was in a concentration camp and my child was about to be destroyed, because I knew the outcome. We'd done our research, like I'd said, and there were so many scandals going on, Pizzagate being the predominant one at the moment. And I thought, there's no way I'm going to let my son go into the hands of these people knowing exactly what the elitist groups are up to. We fought and we fought and we fought, and eventually we got the attention of the head of the organisation. I can't remember his name now, but he said he put our case as a priority, and even this didn't help us. So I felt this was bizarre, because why wouldn't the head of this organisation help our case? There was nothing we can do. Absolutely, you're blocked at every door. So throughout our ordeal, being traumatized and constantly attacked by what I can only consider as inhumane, psychopathic baby stomping monsters, and Julie Pickersgill, that's what I'm talking about, from Newport, what was it called now? Newport Innovation House, which is near Caldicot in Cwmbran. She went about her business to completely ruin us, and like I said, it's because I challenged them. I didn't agree to what they were saying, I argued, and I pointed out all the inaccuracies in the evidence that they were providing. She was one of the most, she's the most evil person that I've ever met, actually, and she enjoys her job. And she struts around in a mini skirt, tight blouse, and she'll take her child if she gets an opportunity, like she wanted to do with us. She crippled us, but we eventually won. There's nothing like having the freedom of leaving your country, being on that fucking boat, looking over at Britain or whatever country you're at behind you, looking and thinking, Christ, we're free, and we have our baby. And the baby was in his mother's stomach, and she could finally bond with him. Because you've got to remember, right, that if your baby is at threat of being taken, it's almost impossible to bond. Because how can you bond with a baby that's unborn when you fear that this child is going to be taken from you? Well, this was a challenge that she faced, or we faced, and times it was great when we could see him moving around in her belly, and when I'd be laying in bed and she'd be cuddled up to me, and I could feel him kicking around and bumping into my back, which was fantastic, you know, but that fear was always there, and my boy did we fucking cry. We cried and we cried, and eventually we escaped. We escaped on the 25th of April from the monsters of the SS, the Social Services in Britain, a horrific organisation who deal with the elite and people with money, and obviously, of course, they're involved in the Pizzagate scandal, along with the solicitors that they provide as duty solicitors to fight your case. They don't help at all. You have to have fucking money, right, to get away, to get a good legal defence, and if you haven't got it, you have to escape, and that's what we did. It was on the 25th of April, and our baby was born on the 17th of May. He was born in hospital in France. Oh my God, did we fucking, we adore our son, and we won him back. Well, we won him, we kept him, but we had to leave our country, leave everything because of these monsters, for no reason, and I can evidence everything, and they know it. And there's loads of you out there who are going through a similar situation, but we went straight to social services here in France, explained our case, gave them the evidence, and they assessed us. They came to see us maybe once a week to see how we were getting on with the baby and to talk to us. Our baby was taken into care for 10 days from the hospital because of the allegations made by the UK Social Services, but didn't make any difference. It hurt us deeply, and it broke my ex-fiance's heart. It crippled our relationship. That's why she's my ex-fiance. It broke her heart completely. Yeah, fucking devastating ordeal. But we've got our son. They gave him back after 10 days, and even the prosecutor who was involved in the case started crying in court along with a translator who was there, obviously because we were in France, to translate to the judge and the prosecutor and the other people in the courtroom what we were saying about our case. And the judge said to me, prior to me leaving, this is all on record as well, so why did you leave the UK? Why did you come to the UK with your son? And I said, because I didn't want him to be subject to these elitist groups of paedophile monsters who are going around stealing, breaking up families, deliberately destroying people, taking their children to put them into the hands of certain people who will fuck your kids. That's the reality of it. They're going to take your children, right, from you upon their birth, put them into care, foster homes. They're going to grow up with monsters. If they grow up at all, they're going to be fucking raped, they're going to be tortured, they're going to be scarred, they're going to be destroyed for the whims of these horrific organisations and horrific people with monstrous desires and needs. Anyway, this is a bit about my experience. I'm going to, if I get some interest and some people comment and can talk to me about what they're going through and how to escape and how to get into the system in France, because we are getting help now. The social services and the courts recognised that our case was absolute nonsense. It was just every report that was provided, it was nonsensical, it was illegible, there was nothing in there that was correct, you know. So there's a lot of you going through this, but your only option, if you've got no money, is to leave the country and come to France or Ireland, or a place that's safe. Anyway, I'll leave this video with you. And I hope that I've helped some people, but you've got to leave. You have to leave the country.